My black fatigue is terminal, and you can call me a racist after seeing this video. I don't care because I may say some racist shit, but you know what? I don't care. Now, before I get into this, please don't forget to hit the like button, comment on this video, share this video, and if you still haven't, please subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell for updates. Okay, so with that out of the way, Scott Adams, the famous cartoonist who did the strip for Dilbert, I believe it was a couple years ago, he was telling his white people to stay away from the blacks. And then he was canceled and all this stuff. And he was patient zero of black fatigue. He was the first one stricken with it. He was one of the early casualties, and he was warning just his community of people. Fast forward, the epidemic has spread to Hispanics, to Asian, to anyone walking the earth, and even some mixed race blacks and whites. And it's the numbers, I believe it's worldwide now. And what he said is, you can't fix it. This behavior, this ghetto behavior, the rudeness, the victimhood, the blaming everything on everyone else, going into a restaurant, not tipping and not paying and walking out, all of this stuff. And I see it just pretty much more so than ever. I mean, with what happened in Cincinnati with the white woman who didn't listen to Scott Adams, and I know that she went to a birthday party, and for a couple of hours, and then she got caught up in the mayhem of all these black people. There was a jazz festival there, and I believe there was a white Russian guy who interacted with them. He slapped one of them, and there was some back and forth, and then all these other people just jumped in, right? It wasn't even just him against going toe to toe with the one person who was talking shit. Just there's I believe 8 people arrested now. It's ridiculous, right? So only out of 100 people, only one person called the police. But however, this woman got sucker punched, and a lot of them will start being apologetic and there's a sense of taking the high road. But you know what? You can take the high road, but you gotta also, with taking the high road, you do have to call shit out, and it's not gonna take away from you trying to take the high road by calling shit out and calling shit out where people have to be accountable for their actions and their behaviors or whatever. And I understand where she's coming from in a sense. Not that I've been jumped by 10 fucking or a whole tribe of a whole basketball team of black people, but I mean the sentiment of just she is feeling, she is feeling a lot of love. There was a GoFundMe or something in her name, they raised $500,000 for her, which is good, which is great. But if I was her too, I'd just say, look, don't do what I did. Stay away from these people. What Scott said, it's okay. It's okay to say that shit. Just, it's reality. You don't want to be out there. You got some black woman with her big ass heels, and she's stomping on you too. Her clear heels, right? And she looked like a mess, this woman. When she from the grace of God, she's still alive. And there was another one with the Washington D.C. where this white kid was trying to save this woman from she was being carjacked by 10 again. It's like what Obi-Wan Kenobi said in Star Wars. The Sand people are easily startled, but they will soon be back, and in greater numbers. And they do. They mob deep. They're like a big mob, right? So, yeah, there's no reason. It's to the point. Well, it was good that he's a hero and saved this woman, but he was all beat the fuck up. This kid, and he was one of the Doge, Elon Musk. He was on the Doge team, and trying to help shit out with this fucking the swamp and the spending and everything like that. And so, it was someone productive in society, right? Now, these people here, they don't offer anything. They offer smash and grabs. They offer a miserable time at the movies because it'll be fucking loud in the movies. They'll be their phones will be on, and you see all these different TikToks and these videos of them being escorted out of the theater, and then the cops come, or also the body cams of the police. Those videos where they're in hot pursuit of the black woman in the car. She's like going through stop signs, and you can see what she's doing, and he pulls her over, and well, you were speeding, you were going this and that. No, I wasn't. And then it just turns, oh, this is racism, because these body cams were in response to the whole hands up, don't shoot bullshit, that fake campaign, Michael Brown, because that was debunked, because he was fighting the officer, and he tried to steal the gun, and that's how he got shot. It wasn't like he was unarmed, and it was, that was from a story from the Washington Post, and the cop was Darren Wilson, and it was Jonathan Capehart who broke the story, because the whole saying, hands up, don't shoot, was his friend testifying, right? Michael Brown, his friend, testifying in court. And that's another thing. And see, all these black people would just gather around something that's not true just to get their piece in, just to get their, hold up the sign, we're going to pay you, go out and march. All these protesters are always paid. No one really gave a fuck about it. Those black people who is it? Michael Brown. I'll put the shirt on and I'll be out there with my sign. I'll be out there early as 8 a.m. Right. And just have my money. Because that's it. That's why it always seems like there's a lot of people coming up, because they're only going to come up there if they're going to get something out of it. Black people don't give a fuck about anything or anyone. They only give a fuck about themselves. Right? And so all the fake protesting, like Black Lives Matter, and that was a grift by these fucking three fat Marxists. Everything is always corrupt with black people. So it's all the way from the streets of Cincinnati all the way to the White House, where you had Barack Obama. Even if you're a half black, you still got that fucking thug in you. And there was this new report where this kid, the mom and dad is in an interracial relationship, and they had this one son who's half-assed. It's his black side, and they killed his dad and his mom, right? And then he just walked to this church and called 911. But, and so a lot of these things that they say, like what Candace Owens is saying, how it's black culture, that's why it's hip hop, and there's all of those kind of elements in there. But the same thing, it's father absence. No, this Carmelo Anthony has a dad who's a grifter himself, and what? His son goes to a track meet with a knife, right, and stabs one of the twins, the white guys, Austin Metcalf, right. So he has a father. So it doesn't matter. It's just that this is who they are as people, and they'll never change. You can't fix it. That's the whole point, right? And so when we look at 1984, the film by George Orwell, where he says, who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. So let's go to the present day, or somewhat of the present day, and we'll go to Charlottesville, right? So we go to the whole Charlottesville debacle about with President Trump saying there are good people on both sides. I condemn white supremacy, blah, blah, blah. And then so what do? What does this media do? They cut that part of the quote of what the president said, and they push him as a racist, and they push that he was for the all the racism that night, right? And it's been debunked because you know what? It's we do live in social media time, and so the truth is more easier to get out, right? But the fake media will always try to, you know, they're just doing what they do, and so I know that's just you know, that's just the way they're supposed to be. I can't expect anything better from them, and so who controls the future controls the past. So if you look back at footages of black people, say when they're getting hit by police, or they're being sprayed by water hoses, or dogs are sicking on them, who knows what that narrative was, right? Who knows what really happened? Because that was sort of like still an infant time of television, of media mind control. And other than now, right, how, you know, because there's Big Brother with the cameras, their cameras, and the mainstream media, and then there's, you know, Little Brother, where there's just us normal peasants with phones, with cameras, you know, shooting and shooting what really happened. Because believe me, I'm sure something may have been different on some of the footages of the past, right? And with JFK's assassination, and then you got Trump's assassination attempt, and then all the cover-ups, and then, you know, we all seen it, but then at the same time, they got the narrative, or they could bury it in the media and not talk about it. And so by the time 30 years comes along, they're gonna just say whatever they're gonna say, what happened, and whoever is writing these history books, the Watts riots. But if you see there's certain things, just like what I'm gonna get into with my interaction with a black person, my first interaction with a black person, the looting in the Watts riots because Martin Luther King died, like no one gives a fuck, right? It's just a reason to go out there and steal whatever they want, you know, and the looting is still today. That's something that has never changed. They're very materialistic, by the way. They gotta have the latest and the greatest, you know, shoes, whatnot. And so one thing that Nick Fuentes said, I guess it was a different rant, when he was talking about people just don't hate black people for the sake that they're black, but people's interactions with black people, they seem to be negative. And my first interaction with a black person was in 1978, and I have a vinyl record to show regarding this, right? So this is Kiss, their 1978 album. Now, what's the importance of Kiss? Well, at that age, I went and stopped the ice cream man and purchased a pack of Kiss trading cards, right? And it has one, you know, hard piece of gum, 5 cards in there, a sticker, whatnot. And this black kid, well, he wasn't a kid, he was older. He was like, I would say 16 or 17. And back then, for some odd reason, older kids looked like adults, or, you know, they were saying that people looked older back in the day, like Archie Bunker, who was just 46, doesn't look like Paul Rudd, who's 56, and he looks younger still than how Carol O'Connor looked. And so this guy looked old, and he was sagging. This is 1978, and he was sagging. He had no shirt on. He was just like he just woke up, you know. And he took one of my Kiss cards, and you know, and I started to go, "Wow, I want my Kiss card back. What are you doing?" And he was just he wasn't trying to show off to anybody or friends. He didn't have anybody with him. This was just him, you know, in his own habitat, you know, him just being him. This is a black person being rude, right? And that's the one house on the street where there's always a lot of commotion going on, a lot of bullshit, you know. And he bent the card and he stuck it down his pants, his shorts, and he gave it to me, you know. And every time I just like walk to school and I just like wonder where, you know, just like where's that black guy, you know, that kid or whatever. And yeah, that was my first interaction with him. That was nigger. That was my I'll tell my friend this. This is my nigger wake up call, because that saying means something else in the black community, but that's when I first was like, in my head, nigger, right? You're just like, this guy's fucked up. And so my friend was telling me last night, like, oh yeah, well, mine occurred when I was 4. And he was like, I was with my family at this motel, and I went outside to play, and there was this other family there, and there was this black kid there, and I had my Mutant Ninja Turtle, you know, action figures and whatnot. And he was sharing with the black kid, and the black kid took the action figure, threw it over the balcony, and it went into the parking lot and fucking destroyed. And he was just like, in his mind, he was like, ding, 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 and there it is, right? And why did he do that? And that's the thing. I'm like, they destroy shit. That's all they do. They destroy shit. He's a future smash and grabber, right? I see that in his horizon. I see that in his future. He's a smash and grabber. He's just a destroyer. You know, they don't build anything. I think that, you know, you ask him, I mean, what did they invent in the last fucking 20 years? You know, they destroy, you know. The last person that had any kind of creativity in him was Prince. That's it. And he's gone, right? That's the, you know, I have a hard time listening to hip hop, and, you know, but Prince is probably the only thing that I will still listen to, or Hendrix, or, you know, there's some, you know, jazz and whatnot, but, you know, even some of this old hip hop I can't deal with now. You know, it's just like my black fatigue is just off the charts. You know, it's like, it's equivalent to fucking Anakin's midichlorian count. It's off the fucking charts. My black fatigue is like fucked, you know. And because when I listen to some of that old hip hop stuff, and I'm just like, I equate it to, it's more of the frog in the pot, and you kind of simmer it, and it's incrementally the communism is building, right? Because they were the group targeted by the Communist Party to use to take down this structure with race division, and because they were the easiest group to manipulate, you know, and I mean, of course they are, right? And their actions prove that. You know, they're not a bunch of fucking, you know, future fucking astronauts or, you know, lawyers. You know, the whole thing about it too is just that when I think of hip hop in the 90s especially too, is when they started using the media and television and movies, Spike Lee movies. That person is the most racist person in the world. And anything that was positive, say like the Huxtables, uh, the Cosby Show, professional, lawyer and doctor, and they live in a very affluent area and everything, and they're professionals. And Spike Lee would talk shit about it. They have to. That ain't real black people. Already, kind of like still telling you, black people, to be nothing. And that's the thing. That's the thing about black people, like Spike Lee. Spike Lee is a Steven from Django Unchained. He's the house nigger. He wants to keep all the other ones down, just like these other kind of scholars. These I mean, the real black scholars, like say Eric Dyson or Cornel West, and they are these black scholars who just really like to keep racism going, right? And Al Sharpton, of course, all these race baiters, these race hustlers, they're always there, crying and speaking on racism and everything. That is a tired subject. Just that word, and see, the black men who are raised by black women, they are just like black women. They can't be satisfied. They act like black. They get all in their emotions. You want a bottle of water? Sure. You give it to them. Oh, don't you got this kind of water? I don't like this kind. It's like they're never satisfied. They're just like their moms, because that's what they grew up with, right? And the thing about it is, these women now, I was watching some other videos where this woman was teaching her son, I believe he was like 4 years old, to go up to this stoop, this porch, and steal this parcel, this Amazon package. And he did, and gives it to the mother, and she's like, "That's right, baby." It's just like this. Now it's just like, these women are having these kids and becoming just, making it little crime syndicate units, crews, or whatever, and it's yeah, they need to have more abortions. That's what I say. What is a black woman that has 3 abortions? A crime fighter, right? What they say. And that's what I'm talking about. This, when I mean that, when I say that, it is because I saw this one, it was on the news. I saw this car chase where this black guy goes into a casino, shoots this guy dead, and he's on the camera, and he steals a car, or no, he carjacks a car, hits another car, carjacks that car, and one of the people he carjacked, this woman, she's all, "Oh, my phone is in the car," and so they were tracking the phone and the car, and so the helicopter was on the second run, right? And he's hitting everything, destroying shit along the way. He's driving on the wrong side of the road. There's just different accidents going on, right? This is a fucking action-packed summer blockbuster film, right? And then he fucks up that car, and then he stops this one car. He got pulled out his gun pretty much and said, gets in the back seat. That person has a kid, and it's a woman driving, and it's like, go, right? And so she gets hit. They all get hit in an intersection, and all this shit, all this madness. And I'm thinking about it, and they catch the guy. Of course, they'll probably let him go, right? However, there was like 5-6 lives and all these other innocent bystanders who was just like in the way, getting hurt or whatever. This one guy did all this shit. One black guy. Now, this is what, for every one black person that, is not aborted, 5 lives will be affected, right? So 5, that's a conservative number, because he probably killed other people other than the guy. Because when he shot the guy and killed him in the casino, it was just like, it was like nothing new. It was just like, okay, here we go. Boom. You stepped on my toes. You stepped on my sneakers, shoots him. Stupid shit, right? So I'm thinking, man, there's been 60 million abortions in the black community, right? And you times that by 5 lives that they have fucked over. Because, even the guy he shot, right? There's going to be some retribution and some other stupid shit from whoever that guy knows. And there's going to be more chaos. Mandatory abortion or sterilization of these hood rats, because they're just pumping out kids and just creating chaos. No one's calling it a genocide anyway, so fuck it, right? But it's just like you have the death penalty for after these, future doctors in the world commit these heinous crimes, and maybe some places have the death penalty, but you know what? You gotta, nip it in the bud and early on, the early stages. Just like no, it's just like I look at it like Damien, the film, The Omen, like how Gregory Peck was gonna fucking kill the Damien as a baby in the church. If you ever see that movie, he was gonna kill it because it's gonna create so much chaos. This fucking kid, right? It's the same thing with these little you got these little 3 fucking kids at the Walmart, right? Just talking hella shit. You better open the fucking door or I'm gonna just break it. I mean, come on. And that's what I think of about these kids. It's like the Omen. You gotta fucking get rid of that shit. It's like Rosemary's Baby, like all those fucked up movies in the 70s about the demon child, right? And that's what Rosemary's Baby was about. It was a feminist movie in disguise of a supernatural fucking thriller, where it's just like, get rid of the baby because the babies are bad, right? Life is bad, but these are bad, right? And the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, said that these people we need to get rid of. These weeds, is what she called the Negroes. She called them feeble-minded. They're not good for society. They're not going to bring anything, right? They're just going to bring a lot of chaos. They're slowing everything down, because once the blacks got freed, they were displaced people. What do we do with these people that can't read or write? They're just, they're nothing. Get rid of them. They tried to send them back to Africa. And that was, becoming a burden. So like, no, fuck. We just got eugenics. Get rid of them. So sterilize. There was like some forced sterilizations back then. And I used to feel really bad about it, but you know what? It's gotten to the point where it's just like, it's Darwinism. You know what? These people are probably not going to last that long, because, as society and civilization is shifting on more to a tech path, a tech world, these people are going to be obsolete, because, they all they know how to do is, I don't know, they're degeneracy, depravity. I mean, that's all they got to offer, pretty much. And you can't say all blacks are like that. I'm not saying that. I don't care what you think, but the majority is with the increased rate of black fatigue. It's safe to say it really doesn't matter if there's like a few good, what do they call that in Django Unchained? The right nigger, right? It was so Jamie Foxx and his wife, they were like considered the right niggers. Everything else is just, they're useless eaters. Henry Kissinger would say that, right? People are just useless eaters. Get rid of them, right? They do nothing. They're Rosemary's Babies. They're fucking Damiens. These kids, you gotta have more abortions. It's fucked up. But you know what? I remember watching a Chris Rock stand-up where he was talking about this black woman at the club. You're at the club and your kid is at home, which is fucked up. You should go home. It's Wednesday. You're here getting your drink on, getting all this on. You should be home. Teach that fucking kid how to read, or he's gonna rob me later. Because he will. He's gonna rob you later, and he's right. You know, it's just, and it's funny how he can just make a joke about that, but it's true, right? That's the sad but true. Okay, so leave me a comment below what your thoughts are. If you had a interaction, a bad interaction with a black person, and for me it was kind of traumatizing, you know, because like I said, I go to school and you know, was like, is that black monster gonna pop out of, you know, sometimes I would see him, I'm like, holy shit, you know. And it sort of just left a kind of weird kind of scar, you know, in my childhood. Because I'm Gen X, we just kind of walk to school and we have to deal with our shit by ourselves. You know what I mean? And if there were people after you or whatever, you just took care of it yourself. But you know, this is one of them. It was just like the guy who fucked up my KISS card, and I was pissed off. I remember just being really pissed off looking at that card and just going, "Goddamn fucking nigger," you know. I'm just like, "You fucking asshole," you know. And that's how it starts. You know what I mean? It's just like, and that's honesty. That's how it was for me. It started at 8 years old. You know what I mean? And here we are, 2025, and not a damn thing has changed, you know. And so, yeah, leave me a comment below, and with that, I'll shut up.